Hello, I'm Kendrick Reed, aka Family Man. Just the other day when my son was watching me work, he asked me a very important question. And the question that he asked me was, when do I become a man? I'm going to tell you how I answered that question and why I answered it the way that I did. So keep it locked right here. So who is this video for? I'm going to tell you who this video is for. This video is for boys, for men under 30. This video is for parents with boys, and it's for parents who have men living with them who are under 30. So when do you become a man? Do you become a man when you get your first job? Do you become a man when you leave your family's home or your parents' home? Do you become a man when you get married and find a wife? Do you become a man when you have your first kid? When do you become a man? Back in the 1960s, 70% of men reached these milestones before they were 30 years old. Nowadays, 63% of men 18 to 30 are married. They're single. And for women, it's 34%. Almost double the amount of men are single in that same age group than women. This clearly shows that there is something seriously wrong with men. Nowadays, if a 23-year-old wanted to get married, and remember, 23 years old is the average age that a man would get married back in the 1960s. But nowadays, if a 23-year-old wanted to get married, and then he embraced marriage life, he would be seen by his peers as diverging from the norm, and he would even be seen by some of his peers as making a big mistake. This bad attitude that men have towards marriage and men not wanting to grow up is one of the biggest reasons for the social breakdown in our society today. To restore sustainability in our current society, it is crucial for men to grow up and start acting like a man. Now back to my son's question. When do boys become men? Do boys become men based on their feelings? Do they just wake up one day and decide that today I'm going to become a man? Do boys become men because someone told them that they're men? Is there a universal answer to this question that cuts across all cultural lines? I believe there is. And we can know the answer to this question by looking at Adam, the first man, the ideal man. Now, first, it's important to note that Adam, the name Adam actually means man or man of the earth. Adam looked like a man, he had facial hair, he was strong like a man, he sounded like a man, he was able to procreate like a man. There was absolutely nothing female about Adam. It's also important to note that Adam didn't have parents. So he didn't have any parents to depend on. He didn't have any parents to bail him out of his troubles. He was able to survive on his own. He was able to get food from the trees of the garden without any parental support. He didn't need his parents to cherry pick anything for him. He was a man, he was independent. Adam had responsibilities. God actually gave him a job in the Garden of Eden, and his job was to dress and keep the garden. Adam was also a mature man. Adam also didn't think or act like a child. He wasn't naive. He knew the truth. He wasn't naive, and he wasn't quick to believe someone or something like how many kids are today. 1 Timothy chapter 2 verse 14 actually says, Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression. Adam wasn't fooled by the serpent. The reason why he actually ate the fruit is because his wife gave it to him. He wasn't deceived. Is it possible that his wife gave it to him in a seductive way? Possibly. We don't know. But we do know because the Bible is clear that Adam wasn't deceived. His wife gave him the fruit and he ate it because she gave it to him. And as a mature thinking man, Adam understood that his sin made him unworthy to be in the presence of a holy and righteous God, which is why he and his wife hid or tried to hide from the presence of God. Who wants to stand before a righteous God when you're in sin? So biologically, Adam was 100% man. He was mentally independent from his parents, and he had responsibilities like a job, and he had responsibilities before Eve came along. He was 100% man before he got married. Therefore, considering Adam, a man is a man when he has the biological component, so he looks like a man, he's strong like a man, he sounds like a man, he's able to procreate like a man, and when he has the mental component, he's able to be independent from his parents, and he has responsibilities. When the man has these two components, the biological component and a mental component, he is a man. So what did I tell my son? I told my son that you are a man when you have a biological component, so you look like a man, you talk like a man, draw like a man, able to procreate like a man, and also when you have the mental component, you're able to be independent from your parents and you have responsibilities. One of the biggest flaws in our society today is that men, after puberty, which is for most men is around 15 to 17 years, they're actually men biologically, and they should be men mentally, but sadly, too many aren't today. And one of the main reasons why men after puberty don't think like a man is because they're stuck in a social system that fosters interaction between their peers. And I don't know about you, but for me, all the bad things that I learned was from my peers. And when I say peers, I mean people my age or 2 or 3 years older than me. Growing up, all the bad things that I learned as a kid was from my peers. And we're living in a current social structure that fosters this. Peers feeding off the bad examples of each other. Another reason why men after puberty haven't become men mentally is because they're probably hooked on video games, they're probably hooked on porn, they're hooked on social media, they're hooked on TV. All these things can actually suppress men from becoming men mentally. Being a man biologically, but not mentally, is like having a car in the driveway that you're just not able to drive. Or better yet, the Bible puts it in Proverbs 25 verse 14, it's like clouds and wind without rain. When you see clouds and winds, this is a clear sign that it's gonna rain. But when you have clouds and wind and no rain, it's actually a big disappointment for people who are dependent on the rain. Unfortunately, being a man biologically, but not mentally, is the norm for 18 to 30-year-olds today. It shouldn't be the norm. This should be a disappointment. Sadly, it's not. Now, I understand that 17-year-olds in our current society, they're still in school, a lot of them in high school, and they're still dependent on their parents, still live with their parents and depend on their parents. But at least they need to have responsibilities. They need to have like a job or some form of responsibility to help them become a man mentally. But also, they should be on the trajectory towards cutting off the apron strings, if you know what I mean. Now, if we parents let our men become content by paying their bills, letting them watch TV, be on social media or video games all day, we have actually become enablers to the destruction of manhood. Now, I know that may sound harsh or hard for people to hear, but it is the truth. We become enablers to destruction of manhood. It's the truth. 2 Thessalonians 3 verse 10. For even when we were with you, this we commanded you, that if any would not work, neither should he eat. When parents feed their lazy men, it actually makes things worse for the men. Makes them too comfortable being lazy. We cannot let lazy men become comfortable in their laziness. Us parents need to be intentional about helping our men to pay their own way. We also need to be intentional about helping prepare their minds for marriage and becoming a godly husband, becoming a godly father. As parents, we must never forget our goal. We must never forget the objective. Our goal is not to raise boys. Our goal as parents is to raise godly men. That's what it's all about. And it's important for us parents to let our boys know what kind of man they should be before they even become a man biologically. We need to prepare their minds for this. And as for you men who are under 30, still live with your parents and single, not getting married, you need to ask yourself this question. What kind of man do I want to be? Do I want to be a man that pleases myself, or do I want to be a man that's a blessing to others? Do I want to be a man that hurts my community, or do I want to be a man that has a positive impact on my community? Do I want to be the type of man that produces children outside of wedlock and continues a legacy of fatherless homes? Or do I want to be a man who's a good role model to our children and leaves a godly legacy for our children? Choose ye today who you'll serve. Do you want to serve yourself, or do you want to serve God and do things God's way? Our nation needs more men who are dedicated to God and who have a strong emphasis on the family. After puberty, men, it is time to put childish things away. When I was a child, I spake as a child, I understood as a child, I thought as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. 1 Corinthians 13, verse 11. At the times of ignorance, God winked at, but now commandeth all men everywhere to repent. Acts chapter 17, verse 30. No politician, no policy change, no increase in schools will restore manhood. But you know what will? Parents who stop creating a breeding ground for their lazy sons, and also when men repent and place their faith in Jesus and commit themselves to God's word and following God's way. This is what will restore a nation. This is what will fix our community. This will solve the family crisis that we are experiencing today. Our community and future generation is depending on men to be men. I hope these words were a blessing to you and will help in your further understanding of when a man becomes a man. God bless for now. Take care.